I've never been one to scroll through my phone, filling the void of existence with nothingness when I'm bored or taking a dump. I mean, I do, but not in the same way you might, because I read dating apps. Now, I'm happily married and would never dream of cheating because I'm not a complete degenerate. In fact, I'm enormously grateful to share my life with someone I love and care for, as much as she loves and cares for me, which is probably why I'm so fascinated by the wild ravings of people desperately looking for just that. Loneliness is one of the most crushing feelings in the spectrum of human experience, so my heart genuinely breaks for those souls poking around in the dark, desperately seeking some sort of connection, but I just can't look away. Okay, so here's how it works. I make a profile and I read other profiles. That's it. I don't match, I don't talk to anyone, I just look and read. So essentially it's a mix of virtual people watching and important sociological study, with people advertising themselves by openly revealing the most insane things you can imagine, which is why I'm here to share my findings in what I've learned from reading copious amounts of women's dating profiles. Number 1. There are a ton of e-thoughts on dating apps. For those that didn't know this already, there are a ton of e-thoughts that use dating apps, either to gain followers on social media or to sell adult content. Now, I'm not here to spread shame on that game, but for the ones trying to lure lonely guys to their OnlyFans, it's hilarious how terrible they are at blending in, even when they're trying to. Like, all they would have to do is throw up a couple selfies of themselves in some sweats or maybe a picture taken at a restaurant, but they always just straight up use cropped photos of their content, barely wearing anything and looking at the camera like they just ocean sprayed all over themselves. And this is always accompanied by a blurb about how they can't find anyone, or are looking to chill, or make some friends with benefits, wink wink. Like, it's totally believable that this person doesn't have a friend group and is just sitting at home on Friday night being like, "How do you do, fellow single lonely people?" It's sort of like seeing a guy in a 3-piece suit and a Rolex panhandling outside of a 7-Eleven. Number 2. Men must be unbearable to deal with. This observation is just a guess, but I cannot possibly imagine what it's like dealing with men on these dating apps. Single women looking for companionship on here are like the men who came back from the blood-stained fields of Flanders. They have seen levels of desperation, depravity, and degeneracy that you or I can't possibly fathom. The amount of profiles I've read which explicitly state, "Please do not send me a picture of your penis," is unreal. So although this video may come across as me picking on low-hanging ovaries, please understand that A, I don't know what men are like, but B, it must be awful. But one observation I've unearthed from this is that there are a lot of women who take this to extremes in their profile. Yes, I'm certain you are tired of being hit up for one-night stands, but if you are looking for a genuine relationship, having a profile that appears openly hostile to sex and that anyone who wants that is a perv doesn't sound like a promising prospect for the men that you actually want to attract. No guy goes onto a dating app with the mindset, "I'm really looking for a woman who is absolutely disgusted by the very idea of sex." It would be like if you had a job interview and were given 10 seconds to sound like a good candidate, but you spent that time ranting about how much you hate every other company you've previously interviewed for. This also leads me to the third observation I've found to be true. Number 3. There are a shocking number of women who blame men for them not having one. It's not hard to find someone on the internet saying something that's completely insane, but when you read one thing in particular over and over, each identically phrased and from completely different people, what you have is a relevant pattern worth commenting on. So when you read the phrase, "Where are all the good men? What's wrong with men?" over and over, then it's fair to say that there are a shocking amount of women who think of men as an ecosystem that they're entitled to, but which has failed them. And if that sounds like I'm describing incels, I am. Now imagine what it takes not only to say these things, but to say them confidently while trying to form a relationship with a man. Like, this is your pitch, so you'd better be a man and give it to me. Does that sound appealing to you? Does this sound like someone you want to build and share a life with? Number 4. A lot of young women basically all look the same. This is something I notice more in younger women, and that kind of makes sense in my primitive brain. Girls and women tend to make friends with girls and women that look similar to them. This could be due to attractiveness determining sociability and sociability determining friendships. It could also be that girls and women often bond over having similar styles, which leads to a group of them hitting the club all looking roughly the same. What that means is that if your profile photos consist of you and your friends at a bar, you and your friends at another bar, and a mirror selfie of you and a friend getting ready to go to the bar, we won't know which one is you. I know you may think that you are as unique as the patterns on a butterfly's wing, but you aren't. And the worst news is that even if you are distinguishable from your friend is usually more attractive, because it's far more likely that they aren't on a dating app and you are. So the scenario you are creating is for guys to see you and your friend and go, oh, I hope it's the one on the left. Oh. And be disappointed. So ladies, crop those photos to blur your cute friend's face because they aren't helping. Number 5. A lot of women sound the same. This doesn't mean that women are all basically the same, but like with the previous example, they all say the exact same things using the exact same phrasing, and it's really weird. For example, if a woman has children, she'll say, they are my world. If they really like something, they'll say, it's my love language. And for some reason, if they like coffee, they'll say they have a caffeine addiction. And this isn't counting the things they all say that I genuinely don't understand. Apparently all women take personality tests, with abbreviations like ENSP or INTJ or some shit. This is on top of many of them already being into horoscopes, and it honestly worries me the lengths people will go to distance themselves from being responsible for their own personalities. And there's no such thing as an introverted extrovert. That just means you do different things at different times and feel differently about them, depending on the situation. That's just being a normal person. For fuck's sake, stop trying to turn everything in the goddamn universe into a condition. Also, young women all say they need someone to vibe with who matches their energy, which I assume means they need to be the center of attention at all times. Number 6. I don't need you to take care of me. Have you ever heard a guy brag about paying his bills? Just getting really indignant and shit about it, like he's a big swinging dick because he paid the electric bill? Yeah, me either, but there are a lot of single middle-aged women who talk about this like they beat Dark Souls 2 while on ketamine. I don't know if it's because these women were raised on no scrubs and my love don't cost a thing, but it's such a weird flex to see grown-ass women be like, yeah, that's right, I'm not a complete piece of shit. Bet you never thought of that, huh, loser? This is another one you can file under, who are you talking to? Number 7. Ask me anything, I'm an open book. This could also be filed under women saying the exact same thing phrased the exact same way, but it deserves its own category. Rather than attempting to elaborate on anything about themselves, women often opt to say verbatim, I'm an open book, ask me anything. So let's take this analogy out for a spin. Imagine you're in a bookstore and you see a book whose cover is just an office selfie of a stranger, and the book is called, I don't know, Becky. And when you turn it over expecting a blurb on what the book is actually about, it just says, you can read me. Does that sound like a book you want to bring home and read? That's your profile. Because the thing about a book is that just because you can read it doesn't mean that anyone wants to. There is no greater fan of you than you. So if you can't find anything interesting to say about yourself, why in the hell would anyone else? Number 8. What do you want?
What do you want? What do you want?
It's not that simple.
What do you
As I've
want?
said, I have a profile that deliberately doesn't mention what I want because the answer is nothing. But it amazes me how much time some women spend filling out a profile, which includes several photographs, the things they enjoy, and even a Spotify playlist, and yet by the end I still have no idea what the fuck they're even looking for. And this is in spite of the fact that these apps include a question that specifically asks for this. Now you may think what I'm referring to is the notion that women are mysterious creatures or some other such shit, but I'm not. What I mean is that even when these particular women describe what they want, it's completely incomprehensible. Most women often explicitly state that they are not looking for a hookup. Therefore, they must be seeking a relationship with someone. What with this being a dating app and all, right? Wrong. Because according to many women, there is a third option. I don't know. This is someone who isn't explicitly looking for a relationship and isn't explicitly looking to slam hams, but does express an interest in being taken somewhere. By you. Why? Fuck if I know. Dating? What the fuck for? Hey gents, would you like to go out and spend your hard-earned money on a complete stranger who has already made it clear that sex or a relationship is off the table? Step right up, lads, and make sure you bring your wallet. Don't get me wrong, I've heard of women using this to score free meals and drinks, and I'm not out here calling them out for their hustle. I'm more speaking to the women who are looking for something, but think that being coy and mysterious is the way to get it. It's not, and in fact, I'd argue that the whole point of dating apps is to cut through all of that bullshit. It's designed for people who aren't good at that sort of shit. It's designed to be more open and direct about who you are and what you're looking for in a companion. So if I were that sort of person, someone who was genuinely seeking another person to share my life with, it would piss me off even more to see so many people who just want to fuck around in this linguistic circus like they're still in middle school, rather than admit what they want and build an actual connection with someone. Your hobbies are that you like to laugh? You like to have a good time? What the fuck does that even mean? You may as well say, in my spare time I like to not be trapped in a cement mixer. Fuck you.